What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video, and today you join me from Pathos in sunny Cyprus, and today you actually join me because you want to see the full review of the Vivo X Fold 5, and I have it for you, from software to hardware to cameras and everything in between. I'm going to give you an old-fashioned 5 category with 5 points. The points don't really mean anything, but I figured I'd do a little bit of a throwback. So without further ado, let's go. Now, for those that are new to the channel, I used to do my full reviews in a 5 category format: design, build, cameras, software and price. Now today I will be adding in displays and some other features because the Vivo X Fold 5 is packed. However, I am reviewing the Chinese model. Yes, for whatever reason, because your average dad doesn't suck on that titty, I didn't get sent a global version. Maybe one day, unlike some other reviewers. So the Chinese version is 95% the way there of the global version. And in fact, I may as well just talk about that right now. So let's call this the software part. The Chinese ROM, no matter which manufacturer you're buying from, will always be lacking two things: eSIM support and Wear OS smartwatch support. So if you have a Google Watch, a Pixel Watch, a Fitbit, a Tag Heuer Connected, which is what kind of grew my channel back in the day, you're kind of out of luck. You will not be able to use those watches paired with the Chinese ROM of the Vivo X Fold 5. But if you have a Garmin watch, a Samsung Galaxy watch, a Huawei watch, an Honor watch, and many other watches, you'll be able to use it just fine. The phone itself comes with Android Auto out the box, before you ask that question. Yes, Google Pay will work depending on your bank, but for any cards that you can't seem to add, simply download the Curve app. I'll put a little icon up here, you can download it from the Play Store. Which brings me to the full Google Play Store. Inside the settings menu, I've done many setup videos, but as soon as you've got the phone all set up on your Wi-Fi network, simply go to settings, search Google, and turn on Google services. Once you've done that, download the Play Store app from the native Vivo App Store, and you're good to go. You can then actually use the clone app, so the Vivo Phone or Smart Switch app, I think they call it. You can then use that to transfer your apps, your data, your photos, all your Googliness from your Oppo, your iPhone, from any other device, and it takes about 10 or 15 minutes depending on how much data you have. So that's part of the software. I will obviously talk about the Apple integration. I guess we'll move location and talk about the design. Now, in terms of design, if you own the Vivo X Fold 3, or if you've seen the Vivo X Fold 3, I ain't going to sit here and tell you that it's worlds apart, because it's not. But I'm also not going to sit here and tell you, or stand here and tell you, that that's a bad thing. Because the Vivo X Fold 3 at the time was the lightest and thinnest foldable phone from Vivo, and close to the thinnest and lightest foldable phone on the planet. So the fact that Vivo have made it thinner and lighter is a massive bonus. But to look at, especially in this white colour, you would be forgiven for thinking it was the standard X Fold 3. And just on another note, I had a lot of comments asking if there will be an X Fold 5 Pro. Chances are very slim, because what they've done with the X Fold 5 is paired the specifications of the Pro variant from last year with the thinness and sleekness of the standard X Fold 3. So no, I do not believe there will be a Pro. However, I also told you that I don't think there'll be a global version this year, and I got that one wrong. It also seems like we're not only getting an India and Indonesia release, we're getting a Hong Kong release, which is fantastic news for average dad tech store buyers, because we'll have the global version for about £200 more than the Chinese version. So, back to design. The outside cover screen is 120Hz. As always, it is a 6.5 inch AMOLED display with Full HD Plus resolution. Bright, super bright at 4,500 nits. And then the inner screen, the standard 8-inch inner screen from Vivo with the limited crease that you can see down the middle. And again, 120Hz, full HD plus resolution and 4,500 nits of peak brightness. Folks, that is the brightest foldable phone on the planet, and in weather like this, with sunshine like this, it does make a difference. Up against my V5, which is also super bright, the Vivo just takes the edge in terms of legibility in super direct sunlight. So to finish off the design category, which is going to score quite well, it does lose a point in one area, and that's just versatility. Yes, the Vivo comes in a few different colours, your white, your black, and this really nice new pine green colour, but I really love a vegan leather option. Like on the V5, like on many other smartphones these days, vegan leather just seems more premium. And in terms of grippiness, that is a word, I prefer vegan leather because, as you know, I don't rock a case, so having that bit of grip on the phone itself is super handy. So for me, in terms of design, as I say, not polar worlds apart from the X Fold 3, but it is super light, it is super thin, packs a load of specs, it looks stunning. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 in terms of design. And as I sit here on this rock trying not to melt away with the heat, we have to talk about the build quality of the Vivo. The Vivo X Fold 3 was the first, yes you heard me, the first phone, foldable phone, to have an IP59 water and dust resistance rating. Now I say it was the first because about a week later the Honor released their V5. But the fact that we're sitting here in 2025 and we can have not only full water resistance, but dust resistance on a foldable phone is just a true testament to the R&D that companies like Vivo and Honor are putting into their foldable phones. Because folks, as I've talked about in previous videos, coming somewhere like here, a beach would have been a disaster for your foldable phone. Now I've got one foldable phone in my left pocket and another foldable phone in my right, and I have no concerns sitting on the beach these days. A few years ago I used to get comments on my fold phone videos like, oh, it'll just break. Anybody actually snapped their foldable phone in half in the past 2 years? I'm gonna say no, unless you are Jerry Rig everything, of course. So for a foldable phone, this is number one in terms of build quality for me. No, it doesn't have any flashy titanium rails. And no, I can't give a foldable phone a perfect rating because it doesn't have full dust protection, but I do have to give it a high score, and I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 for build quality. Keeping 5 out of 5 for build for your cat phones and rugged phones, I guess. Now before I talk about cameras, which I am getting to and I'm excited about, I do have to touch on battery. Battery as an overall package on the X Fold 5 is just stunning. I mean, truly, truly stunning. It's got a 6,000 milliamp hour battery packed inside this 4.1 millimeter thin unfolded device. Yes, I'm going to say it again, Samsung, you are a disgrace. The fact that you can't include a larger than 4400 milliamp hour cell inside your Z Fold 7, it's just ridiculous. And a lot of us are no longer standing for it. My comment section has blown up with my Samsung content recently, basically calling them out, and you in the comments seem to agree. We've put up with it long enough. You cannot provide us with a 25 watt, 15 watt wireless charging battery that is 4400 milliamp hours on a $2,000 phone. Are you insane? So anyway, the Vivo 6,000 milliamp hours, 90 watt wire charging, 50 watts wireless charging, maybe 40 watts, I'll put a little asterisk here. And of course, with it being a Chinese version, you get the charger in the box. You actually get the charger in the box, the global version as well, by the way. Now, in real life, having owned the X Fold 5 for a couple of weeks, I can promise you, you will not kill this phone in a single day. In fact, I used the X Fold 5 until I got the Honor Magic V5 just about 4 days ago. And in that 4-day period, I didn't use the Vivo X Fold 5 much, just for a couple of like photos or comparisons. I picked it up, having travelled to Cyprus, took out my carry-on bag, and after 4 days of standby, it still had about 32% left. Tell me the last time you left your mobile phone for, well, to be fair, who's leaving their phone for 4 days? Yeah, it's impressive, folks, let me tell you. So, in terms of realistic battery life, this is a 2-day phone. Absolutely a 2-day phone. So congratulations Vivo, and a shout out to Honor, because yours is basically the same as well. The one thing I will say is, and I've had this comment before, and we're talking about battery length I suppose, so I'll mention it now. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip included in the Vivo, yes, it's not the most ideal scenario. Why didn't Vivo just include the Elite chip? Well, price is one factor, but also let's be honest here, like Samsung do, Vivo had an overstock of 8 Gen 3 chips, I can assure you. So to save us a bit of money in the back end, they included the chip. And in terms of battery life, there have been drain tests done. You're looking at about 20 minutes less battery life from an 8 Gen 3 chip to an Elite chip. But because you've got a 6000 milliamp hour battery, your X Fold 5 is crushing any other foldable phone on the planet other than that Honor Magic V5. So hopefully that's cleared up the battery angle of things. Now we do have to talk about that triple camera setup. Now the penultimate category, with a few other bits sprinkled in, is cameras. The X Fold 5 has a triple 50 megapixel camera setup. Yes, as I've mentioned before, foldable phone cameras don't always get flagship specs. In fact, they never get flagship specs. The X Fold 5 is no different. It is not a flagship camera setup. Do not expect the X200 Ultra from the X Fold 5 here. But in terms of foldable cameras, we're looking at, again, 3 50 megapixel sensors, all about half-inch size, depending on which focal length you go for. And I've had nothing to complain about. The telephoto lens is probably my most used after the wide, and it goes up to 3 times optical with up to 100x digital, but I wouldn't use the full max zoom on the X Fold 5. Here's a couple of examples. But if you're in the sweet spot of like anything up to 20 or 30x, or using the ultra wide or main lens, pictures are stunning. The Zeiss T-Star coating, the Zeiss collaboration as a whole is just fantastic. It's the best camera brand, lens brand slash phone collaboration that's ever been done, in my opinion. Consistently for years, and I'm sure you'll agree if you've owned a Vivo, they just nail photos, videos, colours, portrait mode in particular. It's just absolutely stunning. And it continued with the X Fold 5. So here's some examples of lots of different focal ranges. You can see the lens and the watermark below. You can let me know in the comments what you think, but please keep in mind, this is a foldable phone, and without giving too much away, that costs about 60% of a Samsung Z Fold 7. Enjoy!
The sunrise hits my face like pouring whiskey on a fire. Woke up with a t-shirt on, I'm pretty sure belongs to a stranger. Last night I know we laughed too hard, I think we spilled some drinks and tattoos
Now, hopefully you enjoyed those photos and videos, and before we move on to the price, I do just want to touch on video. All three lenses on the rear are 4K 60 frames per second, the absolute sweet spot. But as mentioned, because it's not got the Elite chip, I believe this is a setback that doesn't allow 120 frames per second slow motion. For a picture like this or a video like this, when you're looking at waves crashing, just beautiful scenery, sometimes a really nice cinematic slow-mo might be the photo you're looking for, and while 60 frames per second gives you that, it would be better with 120. And the other drawback of the X Fold 5, unlike the Oppo N5, the V5 from Honor, is its 1080p selfie video recording. Now, I have mentioned ad nauseum, you can use all the rear cameras as your selfie cameras because it's a foldable phone. You use a cover screen as your monitor or display, hallelujah. But for convenience, it would just be nice to not have to unfold your phone and use the selfie camera for 4K recording. As of yet, not possible on the X Fold 5, but the same was said for the X Fold 3, and about a month after release they pushed a firmware update to include 4K 30 frames per second. I do believe that will happen again, so keep your eyes peeled for any updates. But that's a camera round over as a whole, and for me, remember these phones are being compared to every phone. There's no separate category for candy bar. So for me, this is a solid 3 out of 5 phone for cameras. And now we're going to circle back to software before we talk about price. And software includes the Apple integration when it comes to Vivo technology. The Apple integration is 100% there, folks, but I have to be 100% honest as always. I'm on holiday just now. I also got the V5 phone just before I left. I also haven't charged my Apple Watch Ultra, so I can't 100% confirm how good the integration is with the Vivo X Fold 5 and the Apple Watch Ultra. I will do that as soon as I'm back, I promise. However, one thing I can 100% confirm, I have been using the Vivo Office Suite app and transferring files. The files you've just seen from my Vivo were transferred easily through the Office Suite app. Download that app on your iPhone and on your Vivo, and it works as a remote desktop, a second screen if you want as well. It works really, really well. There's a few other Apple integrations that I need to try with my iPhone, like getting your calls through the Vivo, but again, I haven't had a chance to test it. I think we'll just take Vivo for their word, and there's no reason not to. They are doing really positive things. Collaborating with Apple is a massive step. As much as you watching this video might not be an Apple fan, trust me, when Apple decide to partner with someone, that puts a lot of faith in Vivo. So excited to see what the future brings in terms of compatibility with Apple, and of course with the global version, because it's Fun Touch OS, it seems like the partnership may not work. Again, I will test it. The Chinese ROM comes with Origin OS, the global will come with Fun Touch OS, so I'll have the global version in a week or so to test that along with the Origin and show you the differences. So just to wrap up software, because I realised, luckily before I got home and started editing, that I hadn't given software a score. With Origin OS, combined with all its already outstanding features like app kits and customization, and just smooth ease of use, Origin OS has always scored high. It's always been a 4 out of 5 software for me. But with the Apple integration, which again, for a lot of people here, you love your Android phones, you love your foldable devices, but a lot of you still have an iPhone for whatever reason, and you'll know someone with an iPhone. So if ever there was a situation where we can get more and more people onto foldable phones, it is the Apple compatibility. So for me, I'm going to have to give Vivo's software a 5 out of 5. I do truly believe that the Apple integration is the single biggest game changer in terms of software we have ever seen. And you may not agree with me, and I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments. But again, even without the Apple integration, Origin OS was only ever slightly behind Samsung's One UI anyway. So when Samsung bring out Apple integration, they'll get 5 out of 5 too. And the final category for the Vivo X Fold 5 is arguably its strongest category. So let's just call it now. It's 5 out of 5. Yep, no spoilers, but I've spoiled it. 5 out of 5 in price. Mainly because you can pick up the X Fold 5 in any of the 3 colours, 256GB version for £929. Yes, £1,000 nearly cheaper than the 256GB Samsung Z Fold 7. So for anyone that has commented saying you can get it for X amount with a trade-in, shh. You could sell your old phone, deduct that money from the Vivo, and probably what? It would cost you £300. Just insane value for money when you factor in the build quality, the design, the cameras, everything else that it's got going for it, the software. If you want to go for the full Buna 1TB X Fold 5, it'll be around £1,100. And because the global version will be released in Hong Kong, I can guarantee an unlimited stock supply, and you have my word, the Average Dad Tech Store will be the cheapest import store for the Vivo X Fold 5 Global. Even if it means making no profit, I'll make sure to deliver on that promise, because you all deserve the opportunity to use the X Fold 5 for the cheapest price. So, totaling up all the scores, I've been out walking, I can't remember, I think it was 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, so 22. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself right here. Hopefully you've enjoyed this old-fashioned review format with the 5 categories. More importantly, hopefully you're just enjoying the channel as a whole. Things have gone from strength to strength. These vlog type videos, being out on locations and filming outdoors, I really enjoy. And the fact that I can be outside walking around means that I can maybe lose a pound or two too. I see the comments, Average Dad is getting above average weight. So, I'll be back soon with a full review of the Honor Magic V5 and the versus video of the X Fold 5 and the V5. So if you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button, hit the like button, and until next time,